Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Sunday video. What the British Fists love to call the good and bad of the week. Oh, by the way, we're the British Fist.
Ka-ching.
Ka-ching indeed, NJ. You know me as Mr. Parkin, but you know this guy simply as NJ.
What's up?
2 letters which speak so much about the man.
And that's very true, I think.
But you already knew that. Anyway, make sure you guys subscribe up above, like this video, and get your comments on anything that happened this week down below, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, or TNA related.
And make sure you contact us in the links in the description box below.
Yes, and it's been quite a mixed week, isn't it, really, for WWE and TNA?
The good, the bad, and the pointless bits.
The good, the bad, and the ugly, eh?
That's it, yeah, great describing this week.
Definitely. So we come off Raw and SmackDown, we didn't feel were brilliant, even though it was live. SmackDown was live, which was better. And
they had the whole combined show things, which was meant to do something good for both shows, but as you'll hear in our review, it may not do its justice.
No, it had good and bad points there, hence why we're going to be talking about the good and bad. So should we get straight onto Raw then, NJ?
Let's go for Raw.
Okay, so we started off this week, NJ, with your favourite wrestler, Triple H, or now COO, of course.
He's got an important role in the WWE now.
Yes, he's Vince McMahon's bum boy. No, I'm joking. He's the COO. I'm only joking.
No,
don't look at me.
Don't
Look at me like that, NJ. Come on, I'm joking. He basically announces that Raw and SmackDown are coming together for a Raw Super Show. What do you think about? Because I thought this was a very good thing, but as we might say in this review, there are some bad aspects about this whole combining the rosters thing.
Well, we've said many times that even though having both shows separate has gave more rivalries and more things going on in the show, having them together, I miss those times.
Same.
So for Triple H to announce that it's going to happen once again, having the shows back together, I was thought yes, but at the same time, as you're going to hear, it's right before an all-championship pay-per-view,
yes.
And having the championships, Raw championships on the line and SmackDown championships on the line, you should have waited until after Night of Champions to do this.
Or at least done it at an earlier time when the pay-per-view build wasn't as important.
That's true.
Yes, because that is essentially what these shows are about, hyping up the pay-per-view. We got Triple H calling out Nash, and then Punk comes out, and we get good again. It's a very common theme with these promos. Very good interaction between Nash, Punk, Triple H. We know that Punk is great on the mic. Nash comes out to the Wolfpack theme. That was awesome. That was a big good of the week for me. NWO Wolfpack theme, baby.
It was good to hear. When I first heard it, I thought, "Oh, this is good." Obviously, he's been coming out with no entrances recently. I just thought,
brings me back to my old WCW days. You get this whole thing that John Laurinaitis has signed Nash up to the roster. He's now officially part of Raw's roster page, so I guess he's an official wrestler, even though he's not medically cleared to wrestle yet.
No, and that's something that obviously is not going to be good for the Punk and Nash thing.
Yep, and we get Nash challenging Punk to a match at Night Champions.
Yes, what we needed.
Yeah, but as we found out later on in the night, there was a bit of a twist. This opening segment, I thought, it went on a bit long in my opinion. But I guess it was good that the COO goes on there and announces what the show is about, and the super shows and everything, and then they got a match at Night Champions, which I guess is kind of needed because at the point we didn't really have many matches announced. So
yeah, I agree. 'Cause the thing I'm saying that this whole Punk and Kevin Nash is meant to be a filler, so Triple H and Punk can have a match at a certain better pay-per-view than Night of Champions.
Good one, NJ. I like the way you tried to hide that for what happens later on in the night. You're very good at kayfabe, I'll give you that. The first match of the night was Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler. Of course, the SmackDown and Raw Superstars come together. We have our World Heavyweight Champion versus US Champion, and when Orton is involved, you know who's going to win.
All I'm going to say is whack, 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 because basically you have Orton.
Sorry. Go on, carry on.
You have Orton, the World Heavyweight Champion, who needs to look good for his SmackDown match and his pay-per-view match. So having him against someone else that needs to look good going into a pay-per-view, I thought having the 2 champions in a match together weren't the best of idea.
And this is what we're talking about when we see the negatives of this whole brand coming together. And you've got the US Champion and your World Heavyweight Champion. You really need, at this point in your pay-per-view calendar, when you're about 2-3 weeks away from the pay-per-view, you really need to hype both champions. And to have them both go against each other is a bad thing. Even though it was a very good match. A match which I mean, it really does show Ziggler as a great worker, in my opinion, even though he didn't get too much offense in. He got 12.5 minutes, which is good time. But it just, one of the weaknesses, it didn't do much for the pay-per-view. I'm sorry, it just didn't.
No, it was a match that you think, oh, okay, this is a good chance for Orton to help Ziggler look good again.
Nah, that didn't happen, brother.
Sadly, it didn't.
I went backstage and I said, I ain't putting no young talent over.
Sadly not. Ziggler needs it, especially when he's the United States champion.
Wouldn't it be funny if that was Orton's actual voice?
It would be quite funny, yeah.
Rather than that robotic promo voice he uses. Okay, let's just go on to the next segment. We had a Cena promo, right? This promo was basically a little bit of hype towards him and Del Rio, and then setting up a tag match for the main event. Now, this really didn't seem this seemed a bit pointless. This seemed like it should have been the opener, really, more than anything. More than anything else, if it's going to set up the main event.
Well, as much as I agree to that, I'm kind of glad Cena weren't the opener of this Raw. And having him here, basically talking about, he goes on to talk about his feud with Del Rio.
He wasn't there because he can't get a visa.
No, which was pretty bad because obviously, as he close to pay-per-view, we're going to need him to make appearances.
Yeah, he's the WWE champion. You expect him to be at the Raw Super Show. So this, it was a really, in my opinion, very pointless promo. You had 3 SmackDown guys in there with Cena. You can obviously tell they had to change it around at the last minute. It set up the main event. That's pretty much all it did. I thought it was pretty bit pointless and a bit long, but that's just me.
Yeah, I just don't agree with that much.
Should we go on to the next segment then?
The next one was a bit more, well, a lot more better than what we've just had.
This was the best segment of the night, in my opinion. What I will say, you had Punk versus Miz, a match which I've always actually wanted to see, just a shame that because they were both heels at the time. This match went for 13 minutes. It was a very, very good match. You got some pre-mic time for Miz, which was good. It enabled him to sort of build a story sort of going into this match, you know, that he doesn't like Punk, etc. And the match ends in a DQ, which was good because it means this match can go further down the line at some point, and we haven't seen a clean finish yet. The segment overall I thought was very good.
And also, what I liked about this, it showed you the continuous pairing of R-Truth and Miz. It's not like a one-off week thing like last week. They continued onto this week as R-Truth comes down and helps the Miz.
Yeah, and also we get the formation of the new NWO. Now, Kevin Nash comes out as well to beat on Punk. And this is why I think this was the best segment of the night, because not only was it a good match with an unclean finish, it was very well booked in the sense that you allowed the heels to get on top, which is what we like to see as hardcore fans. And you carried on a bit of a storyline between CM Punk and Nash, which is good. It's what the segment was made to achieve. I think it achieved all it was set out to be. Probably the best segment of the night, in my opinion.
I think it achieved it for this part of Raw, yes.
Yeah, so some rare pay-per-view hype, I guess, for this.
Very true.
We then get a tag team match for the tag team titles, because, you know, what's the point in building a feud for your pay-per-view when you can just have a couple of tag team championship matches on free TV, eh?
This was a big problem. Like, they had to have their rematch. Everyone's entitled to a rematch. But the sad thing is, as I've said before, I'm going to repeat it now, that whole championship match that happened on that last Raw should not have happened, especially when we need the build of certain titles going on to the Night Champion.
And when you get a match that lasts 3 minutes for the tag team championships, it just buries the tag team division, really. I mean, you have Otunga and McGillicuddy. I know they're champions, but you got to at least give them a chance. Give them a bit of mic time or something. Build something to the pay-per-view.
Well, talk about giving them build. The thing that confused me a little bit was the aftermatch.
Oh, fuck me. What, you mean with Jerry the King Lawler and Otunga?
Yeah, because that's making me think that, obviously, they might come stupid. A tag match between Otunga and Michael McGillicuddy versus King and... Oh, don't be Jim Ross. But I don't know what's going to happen there. But the way... The commentators have been burying Michael and Otunga. So maybe they're going to do something there. But I think that's pretty bad, because we're going to need as much tag teams going into the tag team titles than what we need. So losing them to would be pretty bad.
Remember, this tag team title is going to be defended at the fucking pay-per-view. And we don't even know what match is going to be. And this segment really didn't achieve anything for me.
No, it did, no.
For the tag team championships, build it to the pay-per-view. It would mean a lot more. I don't know.
So we just got to wait until the next 2 weeks to find out what's going to be happening with the tag team championships.
All we know for a fact is that Kofi Kingston and Evan Bourne are called Air Boom.
Air Boom. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, should we go on to the Divas segment?
Okay.
Kelly versus Brie Bella. We haven't only seen this about 1 million times, and each time it was shit. The match lasted 2 minutes. Did it achieve anything? We didn't see Natalya and Beth Phoenix prominently featured on TV. They had a tiny segment, but Brie Bella wins. It's just like, what pointless segment.
With this, Kelly needed to look okay in this match, because obviously she's the women's champion that's going to go on to Night Champions to defend against any of the other divas that we've got.
Please be Beth Phoenix.
Beth Phoenix all the way.
All
but
the time.
again, I don't really like this part of Raw, but it needed to be said.
No, I just wonder why they're not trying to feature Beth Phoenix and Natalya more on TV when they're this dominant Divas team. They're not really featuring them enough. I don't think that's a big problem with this segment. Brie Bella wins. Twin Magic. Fuck that.
I know the WWE need to still pay attention to the other divas, but Kelly really needs to start winning these matches coming up to the pay-per-view. So having Brie Bella, who's not even involved at the pay-per-view, win.
Yeah. We also had a very pointless promo. It was a very pointless segment with Ziggler, and it was just so shit. And it just really summed up this last hour, in my opinion. The first hour we thought was very good until it got to the Punk. It got to the Punk Miz segment, and then from there on it went downhill. The Divas, the tag team, did nothing for the pay-per-view. It just the last hour killed it for me.
And now this brings us swiftly onto the main event.
Fucking hell, which wasn't very good either. We had Christian and Sheamus versus Christian and Mark Henry.
One thing I want to say about this, seeing as at the pay-per-view, he's going to have a match against probably Del Rio. Sheamus, not.
Christian has one on SmackDown.
And Mark Henry at the pay-per-view. So it's only Sheamus that weren't really needed in this.
Yeah.
But, so you got to think, which team should win? Which team's got the most wrestlers that have to look good for a certain event?
Or end it in a DQ. Easy. This match was a typical, not very good main event. It was a tag match. You could tell it was thrown in at the last minute, just from the way it was done. It lasted 6.5 minutes. Cena got the pin on Christian. It's just like, hasn't Christian got a title match on SmackDown on the Tuesday? It's just like, come on.
Well, the only way this match would have ended as a DQ, I think, is if Del Rio was around. But sadly as he weren't, the WWE had to come up with the best way to make this match work, which, to be honest, I don't think it did.
Or have Mark Henry go skits on Sheamus or something. I don't know. It could have ended so much differently. We didn't have Del Rio. We was expecting Del Rio. It was kind of disappointing in my opinion, but it wasn't a very good main event. A very bad segment in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just Cena winning again. It's the faces winning. I just hate that happening every week.
True, and it finishes Raw with this match, so I don't think.
But we finished Raw. We finished Raw with a backstage segment.
Yeah, with that match. Finished with that match, then we got this segment backstage.
Which was a very important segment.
Because basically, the whole of Raw has been giving us this whole feeling of CM Punk and Nash.
Yeah.
Ah, dear.
Instead, what we're going to be getting, guys, is Triple H and CM Punk at Night of Champions.
And this goes back to me saying that Night of Champions is not a good pay-per-view to have such a... Because the championship matches are the draw for this pay-per-view, not a match like this. This match should have waited for another pay-per-view.
This should have been built up a bit more. I hope they don't end. I hope this either doesn't happen or it ends unclean. I just really hope, because I want this feud to prolong to at least a bigger pay-per-view. One thing I will say, though, is this is one of the reasons I wanted the Miz and Punk segment as the main event. Then this would have made more sense, Triple H coming out and accepting the challenge. Making the match. Do you know what I mean? It would have been a better main event and it would have tied in a bit more with this segment. As you can tell, they had to do it at the last minute, though, just from the way it was done.
Well, all the thing I'm going to say is you gave us great hype over a couple of weeks of this whole Nash and Punk thing. Now, at the very last minute, a few weeks before the pay-per-view, you completely changed what you've been building up.
Yeah.
WWE, poor you.
Yeah, I didn't really like Raw too. The first hour was good, the second hour sucked. And that's why I gave it a C-.
That's true, and all we can hope for is in next week we do get matches announced and we get to see hype up of the other matches a bit more now.
Yeah, and you see here how the negatives of this whole brand coming together thing for Raw. I don't think Raw really needs SmackDown superstars. They already have a good roster. It's SmackDown that needs superstars, really.
That's true, yeah.
Shall we? I mean, this week SmackDown was on Tuesday and TNA was on Thursday. Should we do SmackDown next?
It would make sense, yes.
Let's go in chronological order and do SmackDown next then. So usually on the day we would upload a Q&A, which is Tuesday. We got a live SmackDown. And can I say, I'll ask you this, NJ. How much better was it with seeing SmackDown live this week with no spoilers?
Well, the fact that we didn't have any spoilers definitely got us thinking, I wonder what they're going to do here, what they're going to do here, what they're going to do here. So I think the fact that it was live, it made it a lot more interesting for us.
Yeah. And as we saw from the news, SmackDown got a 2.2 rating. Let's just hope this is a signal to WWE that going live might be the best thing they could do for SmackDown.
Well, as much as I want to agree with you, it also had the Raw factor, like the whole Triple H and CM Punk contract signs. People were eager to watch that.
To be honest, usually we would get a Raw recap anyway.
That's so true. So I'm thinking...
We didn't have that in there. We didn't have it from the vault either. Thank God for that.
If we took out, let's say we took out the Raw wrestlers from SmackDown.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, would that have altered the ratings?
Who knows? Well, a question for you guys out there. Do you think it would have altered the ratings? Do you think it might not have? Your opinion. It's all about opinion, really. What do you think?
That's true. I think my opinion straight away is if Raw wrestlers weren't on SmackDown, the ratings wouldn't have been 2.2.
But again, I still think the brand, if they're going to put the brands together, it helps SmackDown a lot more, seeing as their roster's so damn weak.
I know, but as we said earlier, it's the wrong time to do this.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to read out to you, shows that.
All right then, so we open up this Super SmackDown with Super Cena versus Super... No, he got buried, didn't he?
Yeah, because to be honest, the main thing I want to say about this is that Cena and Wade have faced each other before. They've had long matches, they've had good matches.
And good rivalry as well.
True, so you've seen they've had a good past. Yeah. Coming to this match, you're hoping that these two will be able to continue that and relive their past rivalry. But sadly, they only got 3.5-minute match.
I know, John Cena really dug Wade Barrett a bit of a grave there, didn't he? I like the fact... The problem with this, right, it was the match was the problem as well, but it was the opener, and they treated it like an opening segment without really achieving anything. And then they didn't, and then they gave the match 3.5 minutes. And he's just like, could you not have just started off with Wade Barrett on the mic, someone who we want to hear from, and have Cena come out and challenge him or something? Rather than have Cena open, and then you can give the match a bit more time and maybe make it mean a little bit more. But the fucking whole segment was just Barrett getting buried, and it was just so pointless and time-consuming.
I really think this match should have got more time, based because of how big these two used to be on Raw. Well, Cena still is, but Wade has gone downhill. And this match could have been a sign that he can still go 1-on-1 against Cena.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, should we go on to the next segment? I fucking don't want to talk about that again. Sin Cara versus Daniel Bryan. Okay, some interesting things happened in this segment. We had a 5-minute match against two faces, which is a bit weird. Sin Cara wins, which was just like, you know, I don't mind Sin Cara winning, but does it have to come at the expense of Daniel Bryan, your Money in the fucking Bank winner?
Because this is losing streak. We can make a whole big tally chart of this. He's been doing awful.
He's done a job to Christian, who admittedly was the World Heavyweight Champion. He's done a job to Wade Barrett, who's been built like shit. He's done a job... Who that was? The only guy he's beat is Heath fucking Slater. Come on.
And that really didn't do... It was a good match, but it still didn't do as much justice. And tonight, he's facing Sin Cara. Yeah. I know Sin Cara's still new, so he needs wins.
You mean Hunico?
Or Hunico still.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, this match was somewhat entertaining, but I just didn't think that having him lose to Daniel Bryan was good for Daniel Bryan.
Just don't have them face off. I just don't understand why SmackDown have these two face off, especially when they both kind of need pushes.
Well, there was rumours that Sin Cara was meant to face
Del Rio,
but
he wasn't there.
So sadly, this match had to take place.
Yeah, but the main thing about this match, I think, obviously Daniel Bryan gets buried once again. We're kind of getting that every week now. It's kind of WWE telling us, you know, oh, we call the shots around here. We have a Sin Cara heel turn. Now, at the time, we was a bit puzzled with this. We were wondering, why are you taking one of your biggest faces and making him heel? But then we get the news later on in the week that Sin Cara is actually going to be coming back, and they're going to actually be doing a feud between the two, with Hunico being the heel. So now it makes a little bit more sense. But back then, we was thinking, what the fuck have they done this for?
Well, let me say my 2 points about this.
Go on.
We had the heel turn. I was thinking, the way Daniel Bryan was sitting there, and Hunico with Sin Cara, and his back turned to Daniel Bryan, I thought this would be a Daniel Bryan heel turn. Then I thought, no, SmackDown need faces in the main event, so they're going to keep him as a face. My second point is, having the real Sin Cara come back, I'm hoping maybe WWE will find a way to keep Hunico and Sin Cara in their roster, that'll give him another wrestler.
I just hope he doesn't start doing drugs again, but there we go.
Well, let's hope not, no.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was an okay segment, but what I didn't like is the impact of the heel turn was really fucked up by the camera shot and the panning. They just panned it to backstage segment, like straight away, without even really giving us much time to stomach the whole heel turn thing, which I think was a really bad part on WWE's production team. But
I think so too, yeah. But again, all we can see now is what is Sin Cara going to do next, and is Daniel Bryan going to pick his wins before the pay-per-view or so on?
Yeah, or before we cash it in that freaking Money in the Bank, because we're supposed to believe that you can cash that in and win the World Heavyweight Championship, aren't we?
Because if he's losing to people like Wade Barrett, who's not as big as he should be, it's making him think...
Who was in Money in the Bank as well?
True. And if he's going to go up against Orton, who might be the champion at WrestleMania...
Oh, of course he will.
So, for him to go against Orton's just on this winning streak and he can kick ass and that. You're really thinking Daniel Bryan's meant to have cash in and win, but that'll be for another video.
Yes, definitely. Next, we had a Diva segment, which was much better than Raw's Diva segment, wasn't it? You had Natalya and Beth Phoenix versus Kelly Kelly and a new face, Alicia Fox, with Oksana doing this, announcing Kelly Kelly and Alicia. What the fuck was she doing announcing?
All to do with Dylan, I'm sure, but the match itself, getting past her. Again, we're getting to see Natalia and Beth Phoenix in a match.
Good.
Which we were expecting and waiting for because they've just been doing these little video segments or on stage segments. So to actually have a match, go Divas of Doom.
Yeah, and the Divas of Doom need to be featured like this a bit more often because we know that Beth Phoenix and Kelly Kelly are probably going to have a match with the pay-per-view, even though it hasn't been announced yet. I really think it needs to be announced. But at least I can say this match was kind of well booked. You had Alicia Fox is the person in there who you want to get pinned by Natalia or Beth Phoenix. We know Beth Phoenix is going to face Kelly Kelly. Kelly Kelly doesn't look weak because she's not being pinned. And Beth Phoenix looks strong because she's pinned Alicia Fox going into the pay-per-view.
You said the positivity of this match. The negativity is the length.
Oh, 2 minutes.
Because the length you could have made the Divas of Doom look more dominant in a bit of a longer match.
Yeah.
Like I know this is SmackDown, but TNA, not Divas, the knockout
6
matches,
minutes.
they get a lot longer.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, why can't WWE? I know they're concentrating on the wrestlers, but give this match more time. We've done more justice.
Yeah, and it was, in my opinion, it was a very effective segment just because of the booking, and that shows how simple booking can really help your segment, even though the match itself wasn't that good. That a segment achieved more than what the match could have given, in my opinion.
I'll say that. Yeah.
We then get the 1 hour main event, which is Triple H time on SmackDown. Triple H and Punk contract signing for Night of Champions with Teddy Long cutting a very lonely figure, saying absolutely fucking nothing.
Nothing at all.
But this segment itself, although it went on quite long, admittedly, it was very good interaction between CM Punk and Triple H, and you really feel the heat between the two and why they're in this rivalry and why they're having this match.
I agree, because the way these two will speak to each other, it's just like, Punk will cut great promos, and Triple H in the past, he's done great promos too. So I think having them to have backward and forward action, talking about their importance, how they want to change WWE for the better, I think they both have their own ideas. So for them to actually have this match, I think it'll be good for them.
Yeah, and of course the inevitable Nash interference comes out. He beats on Punk and then pushes Triple H over. And it kind of gives a new spin on this whole storyline a little bit, doesn't it? It was a quite interesting little segment. Even though it went on for a bit too long, in my opinion, it still achieved what it was set out to achieve.
I think the whole Kevin Nash still getting involved is still giving you hope that there's still going to be a Punk and Nash involvement. But to push down Triple H is making me think, is there something going to be between all three of them?
Who knows?
Who knows? We'll have to find out in the next couple of weeks.
It's one of the great things about the storyline. It keeps us talking and keeps us guessing, I guess.
That's very true. But it's a bit of a shame. I'm going to bring up what we said on Raw, that they took out the Nash and Punk thing now and gave us Triple H. But again, with the Kevin Nash involvement in this on SmackDown, left us wondering, is there still a chance this could happen?
You'd think Nash should be a perfect delay for the feud. I guess with him not being medically clear, they kind of have to do this a little bit. I don't know. It's just
medically clear.
Yeah, well, there you go. Really, he's a legend. We then have a Sheamus versus Great Khali match. This was fucking... We had an announced match between Punk and Khali, and we get this instead. I think it's because of Del Rio. It went on for 3 minutes. And it just... I don't know. This match was not very good. I didn't mind the booking. I didn't mind the match. I didn't mind the fact that it got a DQ finish, and Sheamus looked strong. But what is Sheamus doing at Night of Champions?
Absolutely nothing, and neither is Great Khali. So having these two on SmackDown, it was a bit of time, but I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But it weren't a match that makes us think, oh, I look forward to seeing what happens next. It just didn't give it. And Jinder Mahal getting involved makes you think maybe he's going to start getting involved with Sheamus or someone now. But again, I just think it was time filler.
No, Sheamus, at least Sheamus has been kind of built up strong, because I think he will go out for the World Heavyweight Championship at some point. I really do hope he does. But, it was just filler time. But should we move on to the main event?
Let's go to the main event.
The main event, as we all know, was Christian's rematch and the end of this damn feud. Orton versus Christian in a steel cage match for the World Heavyweight Championship. And this was a very good main event. It was a great way to, in my opinion, a good way to, not a great way, but a good way to end this fucking incessant feud that we haven't wanted to see for the last 3 months.
Well, I agree with that, but at the same time, my personal opinion about this should have finished at SummerSlam. Yeah, Christian would have won that match and became the champ to end it, but again, for it to drag on to another night, aka SmackDown, I just think that you could have finished this much earlier. Yeah,
this match got 19 minutes, but we had 2 fucking adverts during the match, 2 ad breaks during the match, so we only saw about 10 minutes of action, which is not what you want when you got your main event. That's kind of really fucking stupid, in my opinion.
It is stupid, but at the same time, at least the match got enough time.
Yes.
It gave you all these great spots in the match. Christian being the one to try and escape, Orton the one to try and inflict pain on Christian.
We knew Orton was going to win it, really, didn't we? The match itself started off very slow, but it got better, in my opinion, as the match went on. They really went to that next level, in my opinion, in terms of a cage match. There's not really too much you can really do in a cage with Orton, I guess.
No, but the thing is, we all knew Orton was going to win, because if Christian wins, Orton would have got his rematch.
Yep.
So it was set in stone that Orton was going to win, and he wins when RKO from the corner of the ring.
Yeah, from the top rope, which is a very good way of finishing it, I think. And then we have the best part, which was post-match. Mark Henry comes out and beats on Orton.
Just lays him out.
It was very good because they're going to have a match at Night Champion, so it's good for the pay-per-view hype. It's building Mark Henry up as a strong challenger, even though we know he's never going to win.
No, but I think they've done a great job with Mark Henry, made him look dominant against other wrestlers.
Yeah.
Some jobbers against Sheamus, now Orton. I think they've done great with him.
Yeah, so it was, overall a very good main event, and I think it achieved a lot. It ended the Christian Orton feud and began the Orton Mark Henry feud, which I'm kind of looking forward to at Night Champions now, seeing what happens.
It won't be the best matches, but at the same time, they've done great building Mark Henry and Orton. Well, he's been built for ages now. So.
He's always been built up like a monster. There's no stopping him.
No.
Anyway, so SmackDown overall, I think it was better than Raw. I do. I just think there's some better booking.
Well, the thing
more
is,
pay-per-view hype as well.
I suppose I want to agree with you. If the whole Raw part weren't in SmackDown, let's say it
wouldn't have been very good, would it?
I don't think it would have.
No Cody Rhodes either. Maybe Cody Rhodes would have been in there. I thought your IC champion not being there, especially the week after he's just screwed over his Ted DiBiase. He really needed to be on this show.
I think it would have been great to make better match like that. Carly match could have been taken.
Could have built the pay-per-view as well. The IC championship match, which is going to be featured on there.
That's true. So again, it's disappointing that he weren't there. But the rest of SmackDown, other than this Sheamus Carly match, I think it was good.
Yeah,
pretty good. Yeah.
I just think the live feel of it kind of really improved it for me this week.
It did.
And the rating itself really shows that the live feel makes it a lot better.
And we didn't expect any of this because we didn't get any spoilers. So I'm going to give SmackDown thumbs up.
Yeah, it was a better SmackDown than usual. A couple of good booking in there as well, which was kind of good. So I guess all that we can really do now is move on to TNA, Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, let's.
Okay, so now we move on to TNA, our final chapter of this story, so to speak, on this Good and Bad of the Week podcast.
And it's our first time we're doing it in Raw, SmackDown, TNA.
I know, that feels weird, doesn't it?
It does a little bit,
but at least this TNA was good, and it gives us a good way to end. We're not going to moan about this too much. There are bits of it which we are going to moan about, but the immediate good thing for me was the fact that they were out of that Impact Zone, and it was so much better with a live crowd, with not as much canned heat. And it just had a better feel about it, didn't it? When you opened the show, it was a different location.
It did seem different. The crowd were more with it, and I think the whole atmosphere seemed just a lot more better for them.
Definitely. But the immediate bad point for me is that we're 10 days away from the pay-per-view, and throughout this episode of TNA Impact Wrestling, we didn't have any matches officially announced apart from the obvious Bound for Glory series semi-final and finals matches, which is a big bad for me, in my opinion. 2 weeks before your pay-per-view.
There were times in this show where a match could have been announced, which we'll get to, but none were announced, no.
Oh, so we start with the opener then? Because we opened with Hulk Hogan! Yay! Old man opening the show.
Just what we needed.
Yeah, Immortal promo. Basically, Hogan comes out and makes Flair versus Sting at an Impact after No Surrender. Why is it not at No Surrender, which could really use some matches at the moment?
Yeah, because at the moment, we don't really have...
we don't have any matches to fill the card. We need some. Why not put this in there?
This would have been a good, not main event, but near main event card.
A good one to put in the middle of the card, which might be quite interesting.
That would have been true.
And develop the Hogan feud for Balfour.
Because having it on a normal show, it's just disappointing.
It is. Free TV.
On a big match like this, but...
But at least Angle comes out, which is good, because we like Angle, even if he is heel. But the Hogan continues to dominate the mic. And I'm just like, come on. Can you not give some fucking... Is your ego so big? You can't give mic time to your TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
It is a bit disappointing because Angle needs to say to his future opponents...
Which is Sting.
There we go.
The main event. They made a main event, Angle versus Sting, for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. With Hogan, the special enforcer, brother.
Yeah, this whole open segment, I guess it was a good opener, I think. So it definitely got the crowd going on whose side and all this. And Sting was doing all this mouth, and obviously he's going to be getting Hogan at the end of this anyway, so he'll accept Angle's challenge.
We got the main event out of it. I guess it was an effective segment if you think about it that way. Think about it the other way, you have Hogan dominating the mic, the match made for Impact rather than the pay-per-view. It's a mixed segment for me, good and bad points about it that we mentioned.
That's true, and it's got me thinking now, the main event should be good.
Yes. RVD versus Gunner in a Bound for Glory series match. Now, one thing about this is, this was the decider, wasn't it? This is the one that decided who was in 4th place. So why didn't TNA put more emphasis on that fact? And why do they have so many fucking run-ins and shit, rather than focus on the Bound for Glory series final, emphasis on the fucking wrestlers in it.
The way I see this is that we had the whole Samoa Joe involvement.
Yes.
We had Matt Morgan involved with him.
Joe.
And then we had Jerry Lynn.
Lynn.
To continue the Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam thing, which no one really cares about, I'm sure.
I just don't like the fact that it was a decider match and they didn't put that much emphasis on it, and you have so much going on in the background that you can't really focus on the fact that this is a decider. It doesn't really seem like an important match, does it? The only thing that saved it for me was the fact that Gunner, after the match, showed that he really cared about coming forth. After the match. That's the only thing I really think sold this match.
That's about it, yeah.
So it looks like we're going to be getting a Morgan Joe rivalry out of it, and an RVD Jerry Lynn rivalry, probably going into Bound for Glory, who knows. It was a decent match, it went 5 minutes. It's just that, come on, it's your final Bound for Glory series match. Let's hammer this home. Why not mention the pay-per-view while you're there as well?
That'd be a good idea, because it looks like we're going to get Gunner, Buddy Ray, James Storm and Robert Roode going into the Fatal 4 for the final.
Oh yeah, the semi-final matches.
Yeah, that's it.
But so I mean, Gunner, Buddy Ray, James Storm and Robert Roode. I expect Robert Roode to win this, just because I think a face will win it. I don't think Buddy Ray will win it. I don't think Gunner will win it. And James Storm, as far as I know, is injured.
So we have 2 Immortal members in this.
Well, yeah, but and beer money. You might as well make it a fucking tag team match.
It would be a good.
Imagine if you had Storm and Roode in the final 2. That would really break up beer money, wouldn't it?
Sadly, would. Maybe that's where they're going to go if that's their future idea for beer money.
What's more? You got to ask though. What's more important is your main event title or your tag team titles? And that, if you've come to the decision where it's your TNA whatever championship, you kind of got to put the belt on one of them and break up the tag team, haven't you?
Breaking a great tag team. It's disappointing, but if it's going to happen, then this is the right way of doing it.
I'm glad they've done Robert Roode though, because he is the most ready, I feel, for that title.
I think so too.
Yes.
And honestly, the way I'm thinking, I can't see Buddy Ray winning, which we'll get to later. Gunner, he used to be someone I thought would win, but they've been messing about.
If there was a face champion, I would say Gunner would win this. But because there's a heel champion, I think Robert Roode, just because it makes logical sense.
That's what it comes down to, yeah. So we're predicting Robert Roode.
Then we get a knockouts announcement segment. Now, as much as I like the fact that this showcased the knockouts division, you get Eric Bischoff come out with Tracy Brooks, and he announces the fact that Karen Jarrett is the leader of the knockouts, and Jarrett gets loads of mic time, and it's just like, fucking hell.
What the hell? What do you mean? That made the impression of that black hair, what name is?
Tracy Brooks?
Yeah, because...
Or Jarrett.
Jess Brooks. I think she really was thinking she was even going to get the management role, but sadly... Karen Jarrett, so we're going to probably see a lot of her over the next couple of months.
Oh, God. I just don't want to see Karen Jarrett. I mean, why don't you just... You had two segments with the knockouts, right? Why not just forget all that and just have Mickie James and Winter tear the fucking house down in their match and use that as the knockout segment? Why do you need a leader? I don't understand.
I don't. I think, look, because we all know that Jeff Jarrett's going to have his TV time every week now.
And Karen Jarrett.
And Karen Jarrett now is going to get TV time because she has more of a stronger role in TNA now.
Yeah, she is the dominant female. I don't know.
Sadly, yes.
Anyway, I'm going to move on to the next segment because this was a bad segment. I hated that. But the next one was a good segment. We had Austin Aries and Kid Cash versus Kendrick and Jesse Sorensen. A tag match which is combining 2 feuds. One of them which is going to be done at the pay-per-view, I guess, which is the X Division title feud between Kendrick and Austin Aries, the other being Kid Cash and Jesse Sorensen.
So we just need that announced?
Yes, we just need that match announced, which is what this match didn't have, despite the fact that it was a very good match and helped develop the 2 feuds.
Well, at the moment, I'm looking at it, and I'm quite interested in the Austin Aries and Brian Kendrick, because Kendrick needs to lose his championship.
And Austin Aries winning it would be a great thing for me.
Very true. And Kid Cash and Jesse Sorensen, for me personally, I'm not into that yet, just because, one, I don't really know them, and 2, it looked to me, it's just like they've just started trying to build it up.
Yeah, I'm going to give this time. I mean, I expect Kid Cash to put over Jesse Sorensen. So I thought it was a good segment for what it was. I just really wish they'd use this time to announce a match. Maybe an interview segment announced it. But I don't know, other than that, I thought it was a decent X Division tag match. 5 minutes.
It did what it was needed at the end, so yeah.
We get the news that we're going to have Jeff Hardy next week. He's going to return next week with a live mic.
Let me just get my pipe poopers.
We go on to the next segment there. There's a Winter versus Mickie James for the TNA Knockouts title. And I think, NJ, you know what I'm going to say here firstly. Why was this match not booked at the pay-per-view? You just had Winter win the championship at Hardcore Justice, and she's won it for 3 weeks, and she's already dropping it back to Mickie James. It's just like, come on, there are transitional champions, but you don't give it back to the person you've just fucking won it from.
That's my big downfall. I'm thinking,
pay-per-view match.
That's true. You give Winter the championship and think, yes, Mickie James is the better knockout, but the thing is, Winter holding it, you heard your video package that really showed how important that championship was to her. So to have her to lose it on a flipping TNA show, it was just bad, I thought.
Yeah, I thought the way they built the match was very good. They had pre-match segments with both the knockouts. They had Mickie James win the match in 6 minutes. It got good time. It's just that, have it at the pay-per-view. I mean, come on, this really needed to be done at the pay-per-view. Use this segment to build the feud. Maybe feature Winter in the fucking ring in a promo segment, or even a match for because they haven't done that for the last 3 weeks and she's been fucking champion, have they?
No, they have not, which is a big shame.
Yeah.
Because, like, again, I'm going to say this. As you've heard before in other videos, I'm a fan of Knockout, just because their matches are better than Divas matches in WWE. The thing is, this match, it was good, but it didn't give me a strong feeling like wow and that. But it gave us the win at the end. Mickie James is our new champion. What's going to happen next with that, I do not know.
Who knows what we're going to do in that surrender. There we go. We then have a really interesting segment between Matt Morgan and Samoa Joe.
We had that feeling from early in the night, so I think for them to continue it is giving us more of a feeling that these two are going to have a match together.
And Morgan gets mic time, you know, after all the injury he's just done. It's good that he's got some mic time, and he calls out Samoa Joe. It looks like this kind of thing is going to be built to Bound for Glory, and I really enjoyed the little fight they had as well. I think that did very well for the feud.
It made Samoa Joe look strong over Matt Morgan to begin with, because obviously the heels need to look strong, Definitely. Just so when the faces win or get their moments over the heels,
it draws money.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and I like the way they focused on Morgan's arm with the chair shot and made Samoa Joe not give a shit about the refs, and I just really think that was a great job. Samoa Joe looking strong again. I'm really glad they're booking him this week. This is how they should book him.
I'm thinking, the way it looks like, Samoa Joe says he wants to take out guys, just wants to go on a rampage. So to go somewhere against someone as big as Matt Morgan, it should be a good match when it finally happens.
Good segment. I enjoyed this segment a lot. I think it achieved so much, and it, especially, you know, good segment. That's all I can say.
Very true, yes.
Next, we get AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels in a rematch from Destination X main event. This match, you know, we got video packages of it earlier. You know, it was a good match for what it was. It got 7 minutes. They couldn't really take it to the next level. I guess that's really safe for pay-per-views, so you can really expect that on a TNA, on a free show.
I think so too. And this match, you normally being about pay-per-views, these two facing each other at pay-per-views.
Yeah, it looks like they will though.
Yeah, but to have it on TNA, I'm thinking, okay, after one more match, you got it, but it could have happened at a pay-per-view.
This was done to facilitate Christopher Daniels' heel turn, wasn't it? I mean, you had AJ Styles slipping up on the rope, Daniels taking the opportunity, not shaking his hand after the match. Now we feel he's going to be heel. And this is going to be one of the matches you're going to be putting in the middle of the card at Bound for Glory, which is going to tear the fucking house down. So it's a good... I like the fact that they're having a match. It's just that I really think they need to move Daniels' character on from AJ Styles. And I don't have anything else for him to do, you know,
yeah, it's AJ quite Styles. Poor, because all I hear about when I started watching TNA is them two. I'm thinking, AJ, I personally see going for the world title. Yeah. Christopher Daniels maybe staying in this whole championship.
It should be in the X division. I think.
The X division, that's the word. Yeah.
It was a good match. It was a good. I guess it had its effect. Just really got to see where this goes now. Really.
That's the only thing we can think about this. Yes.
Yes. So then we get the main event, eh? The TNA World Heavyweight Championship on free TV. Yay! Not a pay-per-view where we have to pay for a match.
Yeah, because that's the question. What is Angle doing at the pay-per-view?
We don't actually know, do we?
What is Sting doing at the pay-per-view?
He's probably going to face... No, he's not now, is he? Fuck
no, so there we go. We've got two people that are doing nothing that could have done something at the pay-per-view.
Exactly. This could have been done at the pay-per-view. I don't see why not. It's Sting's rematch. I don't know.
Well, again, I would have had this at the pay-per-view. I would have had Sting versus Ric Flair. But,
yeah, exactly.
But the Angle needs to start doing something. So I think... I don't know what they're doing, but we've got on free TV.
Yeah, of course. Free TV, TNA Whatever Championship, standard main event. 6.5 minutes it got, which is more time than I thought. But Angle wins the match. He wins it by angle slamming him on a chair after Hogan comes in and fucking Immortal come down. You know, I don't like the fact that they have Immortal come. Just have him win it, like with Hogan interfering.
Again, it was for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, which is great match at the end, even though it should be done at pay-per-view. It was the aftermath that was the important part of this.
Yes, after the match we had Hogan and Sting staring down in the ring. You know, that's hyping for their match about for Glory because we know it's happening, brother.
We do.
Then Immortal beat on Sting, but then out comes Anderson. And we're marking the fuck out because we love Anderson. He comes out and fucking beats Immortal down, brother!
Because after Immortal taking out Anderson needed his comeback. So this was great. Him taking them all on.
Yep. Him
last in the ring with Buddy Ray. Maybe they're teasing something there again. But I say it was a great ending to TNA. It
was a good ending seeing Mr. Anderson there. It just a little bit of a clusterfuck, but still a good ending and a good feeling going out of this TNA Impact Wrestling. And I personally I actually enjoyed this edition of Impact Wrestling. I thought I was entertained throughout. You know, we got some good matches there, which probably should have been a pay-per-view, but I guess still it was very entertaining.
They're the two main problems.
Sorry?
They're the two main problems. Number one, matches weren't announced, and two, match that we got tonight should have been at the pay-per-view. They're the two main problems. That
was my big gripe about the show. It was entertaining, but we didn't get any pay-per-view matches announced or anything, which is a big problem when you're 10 days away from... it's really making No Surrender seem like a throwaway pay-per-view.
And it shouldn't, because No Surrender is one of TNA's favourable, not the best, but one of their favourable.
It's the one before Bound for Glory, which really sets up their biggest event of the year. So kind of like Elimination Chamber for WWE. So yeah, I mean, it was a good addition of Impact Wrestling. Just could have done more with the pay-per-view.
That's very true, yeah.
Anything else you want to say before we move on to our overall thoughts of the week in wrestling?
We're going to overall thoughts.
Let's go then.
Yeah, let's.
I think the important question that I need to ask NJ here, I'm going to put you on the spot. Sorry. Which was the best show of the week, do you think, and why?
Well, again, I would say Raw, but this week it's not Raw. TNA has had great matches for me.
Yes.
So I'm going to say maybe TNA would come after SmackDown.
Okay, because I personally thought TNA was the better show. I was more entertained, but I don't know, because Raw and SmackDown both had real good points about it. They had really bad. So did TNA, but I just enjoyed the TNA show a lot more because it was, you know, it was something different with TNA going live. The show as a whole just had a better feel to me, even though SmackDown was live, which was good. I don't know, it's a bit of a mix. We gave Raw a C-, SmackDown a C+, and we gave TNA a B-, which just kind of suggests that TNA might was better. But I don't know. It's difficult. It's very subjective, isn't it? Really.
It was a bit. The reason I said SmackDown is because it was a live show and it worked for them in some ways.
Yeah, it did.
So that's why I'm saying SmackDown. Even though TNA did have its good moments, a good feeling to it, but again, it's a level between SmackDown and TNA.
Hey, this is why we do good and bad of the week, because we get good points and bad points about all shows, and it's really difficult to compare them at the end of the day because you don't know which bad points are better or worse off. But I guess I still think TNA was probably the more entertaining show of the week, even though Raw and SmackDown had a good feel, and Raw, which I don't know, the second hour of Raw just killed it for me. Just couldn't get into it the second hour.
And the main problem we have, TNA needs to concentrate on building up matches for the pay-per-view.
Yep.
And as we've just said, it didn't really do that very well. No. SmackDown and Raw, as they're doing this whole new idea for Night Champions combining shows and that, they needed to get their matches to mean something and to actually work, and they didn't do that.
They didn't do it as well as they could have. I still think they did it somehow, but not as well as they could have.
No, and now all we can say is TNA's got a week.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to pause it.
A week.
A week to book their matches.
A week to make 6 or 7 matches. Can they do it? They've done it before. WWE have as well. So
I just hope they can. And WWE, they need to just start continuing their feud makings with the matches they've got.
What WWE need to do is put more focus on their non-main event feuds and get the titles meaning something before the pay-per-view, because it is called Night Champions. In my opinion, that's what they need to do. They've already got the 3 main events set. They need to get the undercard sorted. That's what they need to do.
We haven't really heard anything of the Intercontinental Champion.
Or the US.
The US, no. And the tag is basically just been messed up now because we've had the championships on Raw.
Exactly. I don't know. So, draw your own opinions, really. It's more... we have our opinions, but you have guys. Which show did you think was best this week? If you watched all 3, give us your reasons why. Your favourite show and your reasons why. Even comment on anything we said in this video, because obviously your feedback is very important to this video.
That is true. It's very important because we've just made this podcast for your entertainment and your words and questions. So please leave your comment in the comment section below. And that's been it for Mr. Parkin and me, NJ. What's up? Goodbye.